Hey guys, this is Food by Faith Garden to Table and welcome to my kitchen. If you are new here, I am a Zone 8A Georgia gardener and I love to show everyone how to take their items from the garden to the table. So I have a lot going on this week. You guys know that it is fall farmers market season. So today I'm trying out a new recipe, as well as I also have a dump cake that I want to make as well, and I decided to bring you guys along with me. Check out my new shirt, guys. Get up, get out, and grow something. You guys know that that is my saying. I am always wanting to encourage everyone, even if you are taking cuttings and putting them in your windowsill. I just want you to get up, get out, and grow something. It all makes you feel good. It changes the atmosphere that you're in, and in the world that we are in today, sometimes we need our atmosphere to be changed. But let's get right into it. So I have my recipe here for the first item that I'm going to make. The second item that we're going to make, the dump cake, that one is super simple. You know that me and Sherry from Black Tropical Homestead, we are starting a challenge of it's kind of like a bake-off, but everybody's gonna be a winner, but we are going to choose the best pre-homemade or semi-homemade recipe in the end. But the benefit for everyone, there is going to be an amazing playlist of recipes to go into the fall for your fall time cookie swaps, your potlucks, and for your different dinners that begin to happen in October and go all the way out until February. So we wanted to put this together so that everyone can have some recipes, and it's basically a YouTube recipe swap. And so for me to get started, the first item that I want to make is going to be like a blueberry crumble cookie. But before we get that started, we need to start the items for the dump cake. So this is a surprise. I know that Growing Out the Box asked me to make sure I record whenever I use my North Georgia candy roaster, because he really wanted to see how I worked with it. Let me get this out of the way. But he wanted to see how I work with it, and you guys know that usually I have all my mise en place out before I get started. But today the only thing that I really did was make the icing that I want to use for the dump cake, as well as for the blueberry crumble cookies. This is a very simple icing using confectioner's sugar, my homemade mazel vanilla that you guys know that you can get from me. All you have to do is send me a message. And I use some almond milk. So to get our North Georgia candy roaster prepared, I already have our oven at 350, and that's actually the temperature that we need for our blueberry crumble cookies. So guys, come on, let's get this started. So I keep the North Georgia candy roaster squash in a cabinet here. And that is actually where they will stay for, last year I was able to keep them for up to 9 months. So we're going to pull one out, and I'm going to show you how I just cut it open and I roast it. So for this recipe, I'm going to take the smallest one that I have. Make sure all your area is clean, and of course I'm starting with clean hands. It's easier for me to do this without gloves on, so I made sure my hands are really, really clean. And this is literally all I'm going to do to prepare this candy roaster squash. I take it down the center. And you cut it down the center. Smells like cantaloupe. It is so awesome. And then you cut it into 4 pieces. You have to be very careful because if you know how tough a sweet potato is, that is how tough this can be. And this is the center. I have a bowl. We're gonna scoop out the seeds. And that is gonna be one thing that I am going to share this year. I'm gonna share quite a bit of the candy roaster seeds this year. So if you are watching this video and you would like some North Georgia candy roaster seeds, please make sure you send me an email. My email should either be in this video or it should be in my about page. And this is simply all we're going to do. I'm going to scoop out the seeds. I'm just taking, as you can see, the hard end off. But we're going to scoop the seeds out, membrane and all. And then later on, I'll get them all washed up and cleaned up. And then I'll sit them on my counter for about a week to dry. And as you can see, you get at least 30 seeds. Or I'll say, about 30 seeds out of each half. And then this is our second half. And remember, guys, this is the smallest one that I have in this drawer here, which lets you know that the other 3 are quite large. I actually ended up growing about 5 this year, and 2 I gave to the chickens. Not 5, I grew 7. And 2 I gave to the chickens. The membrane can be really tough. But we're going to get all the seeds out. And the longer you hold it, I wouldn't recommend holding it longer than 9 months, but the longer you hold it, the drier the flesh gets. Because usually, same thing with the zucchino rampicante. With the zucchino rampicante, if you cut it while it's green, you'll see all the moisture bead up around here. So I've had these in the drawer for at least 2.5 months already, and they're still beautifully orange on the inside. They have an amazing scent. We're gonna take our roasting pan with the parchment paper at the bottom, because these do contain sugars. And it's as simple as that. And we're going to place them in the oven. And for as long as it takes me to prepare this next recipe and get them in the oven and baked off, that's how long I'm going to let them roast, because all you want is for the flesh to get very soft. And then I'll take them out, I'll let them cool, and then I'll scoop that flesh out. And a nice sink here with some clean water in it, so that I can keep everything nice and clean as we cook. My mantra has always been clean as you go. So on to the next recipe, and this is our blueberry crumble cookie. So we're gonna use 2 bowls for this because there's gonna be kind of like a wet mixture and a dry mixture. And then in the end, we're gonna put those mixtures together. And then there's going to be a separate kind of the crumble, I'll say, that you're gonna roll the cookie in. And that is basically going to be sugar and graham cracker crumbs. So for this recipe, for our dry portion, we're gonna use 2 cups, and I keep all of my flour, my sugar, everything inside of this drawer. You guys were there with me when I had this new kitchen island put in. So I keep everything, my flour, my sugar, I have brown sugar, I keep chocolates in here, grits, you know, a lot of my dry items are all kept in this drawer right at my fingertips. So we're gonna take 2 cups of AP flour. I have some graham cracker crumbs here that I blended up in my Net Grant Ninja blender. And we are going to take a 1/4 cup of those graham cracker crumbs. We're going to need some of those graham cracker crumbs as well, again, for the ending portion where we're going to roll the cookies in them. We need 1 teaspoon of baking soda, which I have in the fridge, and we're also going to need a teaspoon. We're going to need a teaspoon baking soda, 1/2 teaspoon baking powder, 1/2 teaspoon salt, as well as cinnamon, or my favorite is always pumpkin spice. And I always buy it in a big container because when this time of the year comes along, I use it for almost everything. So I keep my baking soda in a mason jar inside my refrigerator. So we are going to take a whole teaspoon of the baking soda. Half teaspoon salt, 1/2 teaspoon baking powder. So this is kind of like if you were making a quick bread. And then we're going to put in a 1/2 teaspoon of your pumpkin pie spice, or you can use cinnamon. And if you are a fan of nutmeg, you can use nutmeg instead. But again, I'm using pumpkin pie spice, and a 1/2 teaspoon of pumpkin pie spice. So this is our dry ingredients. I'm going to reiterate. It was 2 cups AP flour, 1/4 cup graham cracker crumbs, 1 teaspoon baking soda, a 1/2 teaspoon salt, a 1/2 teaspoon baking powder, and a 1/2 teaspoon pumpkin pie spice. Now for what they're considering our liquid or our wet ingredients. I have a ton of butter over there sitting at room temperature because that's another job that I have to do. But we are going to use 1/2 cup unsalted butter, 1 egg, Let's get that in there. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to melt this butter. We're going to use a 1/2 cup white sugar and 1/2 cup brown sugar, and then a 1/2 teaspoon vanilla extract. Okay, so I got our butter nice and softened up. We're going to do our 1/2 cup white sugar. We're going to do our 1/2 cup brown sugar. Our 1 egg. And when you're baking, always try to make sure all of your ingredients are at the same temperature. So try to make everything at room temperature. Okay, and then we're gonna put in a 1/2 teaspoon of our pure double strength vanilla extract. And we're gonna get this all mixed together. So guys, this holiday season came upon us pretty quick. So what are your plans for the holiday season? There are so many different things that I want to do with my husband, with my kids, with my nieces, nephews, and my grandnieces and nephews. Trying to make different plans. You know, this year we're going to forego the gift giving, and we're going to make experiences and make memories, not make experiences. We're going to have experiences and we're going to make memories. So now that that is mixed, we're going to add a teaspoon of lemon zest, and this is homemade lemon zest. Again, my mom used to get Meyer lemons from a gentleman that she knew, and when she brought them to me, I would use the entire lemon. I would zest the lemon, then either I would dehydrate it, the other portion, for tea, or I would freeze it so that I could add it to my drinks. And it keeps them cold. So, you know, that's orange juice. Want to keep my orange juice cold? I add frozen lemons, frozen blueberries. Speaking of that, we can't forget the star of the show, which is the blueberries. But guys, what we're also going to do is put in a teaspoon of fresh squeezed lemon juice. And this lemon has already been cleaned on the outside. Okay. We got that done. We're gonna mix our lemon juice in here. And guys, a step that is not called for in the recipe, but I like doing it because if you have ever had an item or ever had a muffin that had fruit in it and all of the fruit was concentrated at the bottom of the muffin or one section of the muffin, sometimes that can be because they were just thrown in there just like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my blueberries and I'm going to coat them in the dry mixture. And that way they are able to be distributed throughout when you're making your cookies. So now we're going to take half of our dry mixture. And remember, our dry mixture now contains our blueberries. We're going to get that mixed in, and we don't want to overmix. We're going to think of this as a quick bread recipe. When you are working with quick breads, you do not want to overmix. You kind of just want to get those items moist. Now we're going to put in the other half of our mixture. And you can see how it looks. But we're going to get that all mixed in. And now it's starting to look more like a cookie dough. Now when I go to roll these out, I am going to use gloves. But again, there are certain times in the kitchen where it is just a whole lot easier to use super clean hands. So all we're doing here is trying to make sure we get everything nice and moist. Same way when you're making all your other cookie doughs and batters, you want to get everything mixed in. So now what we're going to do is we are going to take, I'm actually going to use our bowl that we had the dry mixture in, and we're going to do ½ cup of the breadcrumbs. And we're going to do ½ breadcrumbs, graham cracker crumbs. And we're going to do a ½ cup of sugar. I don't know why I'm thinking about breadcrumbs today. Y'all give me a little grace. Give me a little grace. And we're just going to mix that together. And that's going to be your crumble. I'm actually going to add just a ½ teaspoon of pumpkin pie spice to it. We're going to get our cookie sheet. And so we have our cookie sheet and it's lined with our silk pack. If you do not have a silk pack, then you can just use parchment paper. If you have neither one, I would just say lightly spray your cookie sheet. And so what we're going to do we're going to take our cookie scoop, ice cream scoop, and we're going to fill it halfway. You'll see that your mixture is very moist, and we're going to roll that into our crumble topping. And then from the crumble topping, it'll go onto our cookie sheet. Uh-oh. So I'm trying to keep one hand out of the crumble topping. And guys, these make for great brunch item, a great breakfast item. So I am very partial to like raisin bread and things like that. I also like scones and biscuits, and this kind of, you know, a scone is similar to a quick bread recipe as well. So this kind of gives me like blueberry scone. So if you guys don't like blueberries, what is another fruit that you think that you could use in place instead of blueberries that would be pretty good in this recipe? I would dare to say maybe apples. But you would have to be particular on the type of apple. And of course, raspberries. But then you would have to add just a little more sugar, because we all know that raspberries can be quite tart. I would even dare to say using raisins or date nuts. But what I wouldn't do would be something like bananas, because bananas would be an extra added moisture, and the cookie may very well not turn out the way that it should. So on this first cookie sheet, we have 2, 4, 6, 8. Before we open the oven and let any heat out, we are going to, I pulled out 2 cookie sheets just in case, both lined with the seal pack. We are going to go ahead and fill this cookie sheet. And guys, what is your favorite fall thing to do, as well as your favorite fall recipe? I'm trying to think. I don't know. I think my favorite fall recipe would have to be cobblers. So I am a big crisp and cobbler fan. Like I love apple crisp, pear crisp. I love cobblers, which is why I'm doing this dump cake, because dump cakes kind of put me in the mind of cobblers, especially the way that I'm gonna do the dump cake. And if we don't get to it today, we will get to it tomorrow, as I have like brown butter chocolate chunk cookies I need to make. I have oatmeal raisin cookies I need to get done. And if you can see those zucchini rampicante on my counter over there, I want to take one of them and shred it and make zucchini muffins. And as you can see, I'm able to store those because I allow that variety. You can allow it to sit on the vine and turn yellow or orange. And once it turns yellowish orange, then it's able to store. But throughout the spring and summer season, you guys saw me pick some when they were green, and they were so tender. When I sauteed them with onions and mushrooms, they were very, very good. But because I could not eat them all, and you know, when you have your specialty items like that zucchini rumpa conte, when people aren't used to that, that's not, I was able to share 2 of them with other gardeners. But as far as trying to give them away to others, people just, they were afraid of it being, you know, something new. So I kept them for myself, and I let them stay on the vine so that just like I can store the North Georgia Candy Roaster, I can actually store those as well. All right, guys, all our batter is done. We're gonna get these cookies into the oven. And they're gonna go in for between 15 and 17 minutes. When they come out, I'll bring you guys back because that's when we are going to ice them, okay? I'll see you soon. All right, guys, we are back. Our timer is going crazy. So what happened was, in the beginning, I told you 15 to 17 minutes. I checked it at the 17-minute mark, and they still looked a little soft to me in the center. So I put 5 more minutes of time on, and that's what's going off right now. So let's take a look. And if you remember, we still have our North Georgia Candy Roaster squash in there roasting. Whenever I get our cookies out, I will ramp the oven up to 400. They usually take between, when I start them out, just in the oven by themselves on 400, they usually take about 20 to 25 minutes. Sometimes the bigger ones will take 30 minutes. Oh, guys, look at that. That is gorgeous. So this is our first pan. Here is our second pan. We're going to take that temperature up to 400 so that our candy roaster squash can get going. Remember, we did our icing earlier. So what we're going to do is we are going to let these cool. And if you are having these at breakfast time, your family's already ready to eat, you can go ahead, place the icing on just like you would do a cinnamon roll. And then you could go ahead and eat them. Now for me, I'm probably going to eat them warm. I'm probably going to heat mine up. I know that I'm going to have one for dinner today. But what we are going to do is we are going to let these cool for about 5 minutes. And once we let them cool for about 5 minutes, again, they're not going to be all the way cool. But they'll be cool enough that when I go ahead and I put, let me show you this icing. when I go to put this icing on the top, this glaze, that it's not just gonna drip all the way off of it. We do want the entire top of the cookie to have icing on it. So again, I'm gonna wait 5 minutes, and then we are going to put our icing on the top, and we're gonna see how amazing these cookies are. So it has been 5 minutes, and we are going to get our nice thick glaze on top of our cake cookies. You're just gonna give each one a nice healthy dollop. And it's okay, again, if it spreads, because you want it to spread. You just didn't want it to spread completely. When we first brought them out of the oven, they were just way too hot. And now the centers are actually still warm. But because the top is not steaming hot, then the icing is not just going to slide completely off. And you see, using the seal pad makes it easy to get everything moved. So guys, I know that we are having a long day of baking, but I am super glad that you all are hanging in here with me and hanging out with me. Now, do you see how beautiful these are? Let's give one a little try. I wasn't gonna try it when it was piping hot out of the oven. That just doesn't make any sense. Here's the center. Y'all. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, goodness. Y'all, this is so good. This is so freaking good. My goodness. I wonder if I can freeze these. Like, if I can make them ahead for myself, and then freeze them. Yep. Thank you for coming along with me. Well, we did this recipe. Remember, we still have our North Georgia Candy Roaster Dump Cake. We're gonna finish that up. I'm actually gonna finish that up on camera, but we're gonna stop this portion of the video now and come back and do that tomorrow, because I do have a few other things I need to do today. So we're actually going to use, I think it is the cake mix we're going to use is kind of like a crumble cake mix. So we're going to use that to make our dump cake. Of course, I'll show you guys exactly what we're going to do once the North Georgia Candy Roaster is all done. I'm going to scoop the insides out, sit it in a bowl to cool, add a little cinnamon, a little pumpkin pie spice, a little brown sugar to it, stir that up, let it cool overnight, and then whenever tomorrow we're gonna come back. I'm gonna take our crumble mix. I'm gonna mix it with a little bit of milk and an egg, and we are going to put that North Georgia Candy Roaster on the bottom of our baking dish. We're going to put that crumble mix on the top, that crumble cake on the top, and then we're going to add just a little bit of raw sugar. Sorry, I got icing on my fingers. A little bit of raw sugar on the top. When it is done, immediately out of the oven, we're going to put our icing on it, and that's going to be our dump cake, guys. And that's what me and Sherry from Black's Tropical are trying to get you guys to see. This fall baking season, we want everybody to be able to get up, get out and grow something in their garden. And when they're done in their garden, come inside and be able to make a relaxing yet amazing homemade dish. So as always, guys, have faith in our food. And remember, we'll see you tomorrow.